Hi, I'm Chris, and we're here for the next in our series of getting to know videos. Here with Megan and here with James. Megan, as normal, will ask the questions. I'll chip in probably from time to time, but for now, over to you, Megan.
Okay, so welcome, James. First of all, first question, who are you and what do you do at Changes?
Well, I'm James Vernon, and I'm the Children and Young People's Manager.
And what do you do? What does that entail?
What does that entail? Well, I get to manage the rowdy bunch of well-being children and young people's well-being coaches. But one of my main roles is to triage the children and to make sure we get them into the right service. So I do a lot of talking to parents and making sure they can get all the support they need at that time, as well as what we're doing as well.
And what are your favourite parts of the role and your least favourite parts of the role?
Favourite parts of the role. I think my favourite parts of the role is actually talking to parents, is actually getting to know parents, what's going on for the child, what's going on for around them, and getting some support out to these families, because I know with any time, like with any time, but specifically, right now with what's going on with COVID, parents are so welcome of any support, and be able to signpost them to services who can support them and the child is absolutely brilliant, and it's really fulfilling role in that sense. Least favourite part of the role. I don't know. I don't think there is one, Meg. I actually really do enjoy it. I really do. I think Stay Well's an absolutely wonderful project. Stay Well's the Children and Young People Service. It's a wonderful project, and we work in partnership with Younger Mind and the Dove Service. And do you know what? It was a really breakthrough moment when we did that in Stoke-on-Trent, the three services coming together. And I think, what are we, 18 months in, I think now? I think we're just going from strength to strength. And I think sorry to ramble on, but one of the great things about what we've done at Stay Well is how we've just been able to adapt during COVID. I think to carry on offering intervention with children without a break has just been sensational. So yeah, really do enjoy it. I think really fulfilling role, and just a great program altogether.
Yeah, 100% agree. So before Stay Well, what did you do?
How long's this video going to be? I've got absolute tons. So I originally, believe it or not, and everyone is shocked when I say this, I actually trained as an actor. Many moons ago, I went to Manchester Metropolitan University I think I graduated in 2001. And once I left there, I moved to London to work in theatres in London, which I did for a short period of time, and somehow ended up finding myself working in a school in Hammersmith in West London, which I loved. And the children who I worked with there were just absolutely fantastic. And I did a lot of obviously theatre work with them, but I also trained as a football coach as well. So I'm actually a UEFA B qualified football coach as well, and I work with the likes of Charlton Athletics Community Scheme. I've worked with Stoke City Ladies before. In 2007, I was on the Piccadilly line train in front of the one that was bombed. And that was my moment I've had enough of London, let's get out. So a year later, I moved back to Stoke. Carried on working in schools for a short time in Manchester. I worked at Manchester Winton Girls' School in Manchester for a while. Still dipped my toe in and out of working in professional theatre at the Regent in Hanley on the stage crew. And then, unfortunately, in 2011, both of my parents were diagnosed with cancer, and subsequently passed away in 2014. And during that period of time, my dad had a business, and I kind of stopped everything to help my dad, run his business while he was ill, which was a massive step away from what I was doing before. It was in refractories. And those who don't know, it's actually very Stoke-on-Trent based company. What they actually did was built the actual kilns for pot banks and the kilns for boilers. The actual refractory is the brickwork inside them. So I did that for a short period, and then once my parents passed in 2014, I wrapped up the business and closed it down, which was kind of heartbreaking for me, and kind of left me in quite a really low, dark place, because everything I'd done before had kind of just seemed to fall away. Everything became pointless. And I actually ran off, is what I did. I actually ran off from Stoke. I just couldn't cope with it. So I actually moved to Glossop, which is right in the middle of Derbyshire. I'd met someone and moved to Derbyshire to live with her. And while during that time, I kind of had a lot of reflection time and thought to myself, do you know what? I need to do something for myself and something I'm very passionate about. And something I was very passionate about was actually helping men in positions that I found myself in at that time. Because I'm a firm believer that at the age of, you kind of go through 3 puberties almost. You kind of go through one, obviously, at your early teens, one at 21, and I believe you go through one later on in your 30s, where you actually reevaluate your life and reassess your life and where you want to be. And I was going through that period on top of 2 bereavements as well. So while my sisters went out and brought lovely cars and did things like that, I decided to use my inheritance to go back and retrain. So I'm currently 6 years into a Masters of Counselling and Psychotherapy. So it's kind of been a long journey, but a journey. What brought me to changes was kind of that life experience and those experiences I've had. So, in short.
Yeah, that is a lot has gone on there. So it was kind of, you wanted to move into mental health because you wanted to support people who'd been in the same position as you.
Yeah.
And do you feel like that was something that was lacking at the time? There wasn't the support you needed?
I think as a man, I refer to myself as one of those, I was a rugby playing footballer who loved a beer at weekends, and I was very much brought up Brick Lane family that was very much like, you don't cry. Men don't do that. Men don't talk about their emotions. You're resilient. You have to be strong. And I never felt that in myself. I felt like I needed a space to be able to show my emotions and deal with my emotions. And even though I'm, still very active, I love watching football and proper lads lad. I love all those things. But why can't we talk about our emotions? Why as men? What is this big barrier around it? And that is probably my life goal. I think, a lot of theory states that when a man reaches the 40s, what they do is look to form a legacy about themselves. Now, I have 2 stepchildren, I do, but they aren't my children. They won't continue that Vernon legacy. So and then when I was going to say I was like going through that kind of 40s puberty and where I'm reassessing, where I can't play football anymore. My life was very detached. It was very different for what was going on for me before. What was that next phase? What was going to be my legacy? So this is my legacy now, is to help people, not just men, people in particular, to understand these things, because I do believe that our stories that have brought us to this point shape the people who we are now.
Wowza.
Does that help you, mate?
That's pretty profound, yes. Okay, so another question on mental health, and then we're going to go into the more frivolous questions.
Okay.
Where do you see mental health going in the next 10 years? Obviously, you've seen where it's gone in the last 10 years. Where do you think it's moving?
Where do I think it's moving? I think that up until this point, I think we began to break down barriers. We began to show the importance of it. And I think the legacy of COVID is going to be huge for mental health. And I think this is, I was reading a report yesterday from a bereavement organisation called, can't think of it called now, Cruise Bereavement. And they were saying that for every one person who dies during the COVID period, there will be 5 bereaved people around them, and those 5 people will fall into some form of complicated grief. So because we haven't got the same rituals that we do at the moment. We don't have funerals. Funerals aren't the same. We can't connect with people in the same. And this is not just for bereavement. This is across the board in mental health. So we know that in the next few years, we need to adapt services. We need to meet the clients with their needs, because there's going to be a change in what we see with mental health now. And I think it's been acknowledged. I think the government have really stepped up and gone, do you know what? We need to put investment and funding into these areas. And I think we're going to see a vast change in what we need. And I think what we've all learned from lockdown is how important our mental health is, how important to give ourselves time and give ourselves space to do things. It's just so important.
On that note, is there any aha moments you've had during lockdown?
Yeah, I do quite a lot of self-reflection, just as being a trainee. But one thing that I've noticed about me is that I don't give myself space and time. I don't honor my own need for just to give myself the things I like to do and find pleasure in. We can get really bogged down, can't we? In, money is a big thing. We get bogged down. We need to have this. We need to have that. We need to be in this. We strive for that next job. We strive for the money. And where actually the greatest thing in life is inner peace. And what do we get from inner peace? We get it by spending time for it. And I've had no greater joy this lockdown than walking my dog and just having that time with my dog and just going and throwing a ball and just getting out and just being, almost, if you know what I mean, just allowing myself to be me. Does that help? Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think walking and spending time with animals is something a lot of people have mentioned, isn't it? It's so important. Yeah, so soothing. So moving a little bit away from the mental health, is there anything that you are passionate about that isn't anything to do with mental health?
Oh, it's tough. The first thing that came to mind then was my golf. I am avid. When I finished playing football and rugby, I was like, oh my God, what now? What am I going to do now? My knees have gone. I can't get up on a Saturday and Sunday and go and play rugby and have that social with the lads. So it was so important to me. I'm going to have to pull out my pipe and slippers and sit there and I always played golf, but I never made it part of my life. And now I have adapted and I run I'm the first team captain at Greenway, and that just gives me, there's 40 blokes who all play there, and it's actually as good as what the social was like at rugby. So it gives me, I've made a whole new circle of friends, and we all go out on a Saturday and Sunday morning, and just when you think about it, I don't think about it. I actually walk 12 miles every weekend playing golf, but I don't think about it because I'm playing a game. You know what I mean? Or I'm with my mates and we're talking. And I've really missed it over the last 2 months. I can't tell you how hard it's been. Sunday mornings are just not the same. I wish I'd taken up like crocheting or knitting, because I could have done that through lockdown.
No, you're inspiring me to get a hobby where it does have a community, because I think that must be so nice to have an extra community through a shared hobby. I think that's really nice. I don't have that. I think that's something I would love. That was the best part about playing rugby. If you speak to any rugby player, they'll all tell you it's you've got the game, but the social is actually the lads. The game. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I was been reading a really good book this week by James Haskell. He was ex-England rugby player, and his first chapter in the book isn't about him being an international rugby player playing against some of the greatest rugby players in the world. It's like what it's like to be on a social, with the importance of the social to rugby. So yeah,
I love that.
It is very important, very important.
Right, let's crack on. So next question, where is your favourite place in the world that you have visited?
Spent a lot of time in Italy over the years, in Sorrento, Amalfi, Rome, Naples, that kind of area. And I don't think I've ever felt as happy as I've been there. There's something just about Italian culture, the laid back nature of Italian culture. And and I really enjoy that. But I think if I had to do, say, if you Meg turned around and went, "There's 10 grand, go on holiday now. Where would you go?" I think I love going on cruises. I love going on cruises, just because I think I'm that little bit of an active person. So yeah, I like the sun, love the sun. Don't get me wrong, I'm the first one in it. Can't lie in it all day. So I like doing something and seeing new places. So yeah, I think anywhere. I think Europe is beautiful in the summer, Greece and places like that. But I think if I had to put anywhere, I'd say either Sorrento or any of the Greek islands. I think are just beautiful.
Lovely. If you were to be a superhero, what superhero would you be and why?
Oh. Do you know what I think? Oh, I don't know. I nearly said something really bizarre and off the wall then. Do you know what I nearly said then? I nearly said I'd be my mum, because my mum, I used to call her Wonder Woman because she was Wonder Woman. But I like that.
So let's keep that one.
Yeah, keep that. I think it's a bit weird that I was calling myself a woman. But yeah.
I like that one. I think that one is lovely. So, if you only had 6 months left to live, what would you do? No money constraints, no time restraints. What would you do?
I would definitely 100,000%. There'd be two things, but I think I'd kind of link them in. I'd love to do an RV trip across America. You know, that is like do the whole Route 66 kind of thing. I'd love to do that. But I think I would have a bucket list of golf courses.
Wowza. And
majority of them are in America, you know, because I sit there watching them every Sunday on Sky and watching them play, and I just think, oh, it's weird, isn't it? I would love to hit a golf ball on that hole, is actually what I'm saying to myself.
I've never understood it myself, but people what is your favourite thing to watch? What kind of genre? What kind of films? What series? What do you like to watch?
I knew this would come up. I'm a massive TV fan. Massive, huge TV fan. And when I think about, you know, what my favourite TV is and favourite movies is, it's definitely those kind of true stories. Those massive. My favourite film of all time is Wolf of Wall Street. Oh, I think just a great film. Not for, partly because you can't believe what people get up to, you know, but I think that whole journey he went on, and films like Catch Me If You Can. I think that's a great film about the Leonardo DiCaprio, where films like that where there's actually a story to them. You go, then when you pick up your phone after and go, I've got to Google that person to see what they look like or who that person was. So I really like them. I think one of the best TV series I've watched in a long time, and I put it all over my social media because I think it's so poignant, was do you know what? I forgot what it's called, Meg. It's a Sin.
It's a Sin. Yeah, you have told us about that.
I think that was just absolutely unbelievable to hear people's life stories and what went on and what can we learn from it. I think is really important. Yeah.
I always think that about film and television. If we could get people to connect with people in real time rather than connect with stories that have already gone in situations that have already happened, perhaps we could prevent a lot of damage. I think.
Yeah, same thing. I think, like I was saying before, learning off your experience, learning from people's experience. You know what? All of that went on in It's a Sin, and all of that kind of, it's pretty much happened again with COVID, hasn't it? We'll ignore it. It's over there. We'll ignore it. It's over there. It won't. But then when it affects us, we should have learned from these mistakes. We should have learned from these things. But yeah, we're really interesting stuff. I just like to hear people's life stories.
Yeah, I do too. What is your favourite theatre, play or musical?
Oh, is this one just geared up to me? Or yeah. I think I always had a bit of a passion for Willie Russell stuff. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really good. I wonder if that was kind of tapped into that was some of part of his life experience, wasn't it? And, you know, being around people in Liverpool and things like that. I thought it was really good. And I always try and catch Blood Brothers when it comes on at the Regent because I just think it's good. I took the kids to see it and they loved it.
It's
Yeah, when it come. But I think, yeah, I'm a really big fan of the big musicals. I really love Our House, especially We Will Rock You. Just amazing shows. But I'm kind of a bit of a traditionalist when it comes to the musicals. I love a good Starlight Express. I can sing it word for word all the way through. Just a really good show. Why is Chris laughing at me? Is this like a shock to Chris?
I love Starlight Express. It's when we used to, when we went to school, we used to do like a week at Barlaston, but one of those days was down to London, and we always watched Starlight Express, and I love it.
It was the first musical I went to see in London.
It's the first thing I ever saw in London, yeah.
And it was brilliant because, can you remember, Chris, where they actually had the audience stood up, didn't they, around the back of the auditorium? Oh, it was so good.
Absolutely. So good. Didn't like the new one with the 3D glasses. Wasn't as keen on that one.
No. There's something about theatre that just it sends me cold. It's actually just talking about it then. It sends me cold. It's about that. Something about working in theatre that was kind of just still sends a tingle down my spine. And it was just about I always kind of reflect on it and think about, what it means. And I tried to write a play around it once when I was younger, about being in an empty theatre and the emotion, the resonance of the emotion that's left from the audience always feels quite powerful. And I wonder if that's where ghost stories come from in theatre, and that kind of residual emotion. And yeah, but there's something about theatres that live performance and that just being, again, as part of an ensemble, whether it be you're part of the crew and the cast. I used to love, what have I done? I think I've done 3 pantos at the Regent. And you think, oh God, 50 odd shows over a month, that over Christmas as well. The best thing. It's the best thing to be a part of that ensemble, putting shows on, watching people's emotion, making them happy.
Yeah. On that, what would be your dream role? On Broadway, the West End, Hollywood, wherever, what would be your dream role? What would you love to see yourself playing?
I would love to be in the producers. I think that's kind of my kind of sense of humour. I think I wanted to see it on Broadway, but never got to see it. I've been to New York a couple of times, but I've never seen it on Broadway. And when it came over here, never saw it over here. But I've obviously seen the Mel Brooks version of it, the movie version of it that came out a few years ago. And I remember somebody in theatre telling me, an old vaudeville actor, saying, "Oh, you've got to see, if you go to New York, you've got to see the producers." And I was like, and I Googled it and I thought, how can that be funny? Because it's actually quite touching on borderline, isn't it, all the way through it? But it's a send up, isn't it? So, but I think I'd love to play one of the lead too. I think it's just quite funny.
No, I could see that. That's funny. Proper funny.
Yeah.
This one might be a hard one. Teach me something I don't know in the next 5 minutes.
Oh, God.
A small lesson about something I don't know. Okay, this is fun. And I don't know how to...
I don't know where we're going with this, Meg. I really don't. But shall I teach you a chord on a guitar?
Yes.
Yeah, dead simple one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've actually tuned my guitar down because I'm trying to teach myself some Ben Howard stuff at the moment. But so it might sound a bit dodgy. But dead simple. These 2 fingers.
Yeah.
2nd fret. 2nd and 3rd string on the second square.
Does that mean the second little block down?
Yeah. So a fret is the things coming down.
There you go. You've already done it, but carry on.
There we go. Together and just play the top 3 strings. Can you name that song in one? No, I can't either. There we are. Tell me something.
I think the best thing is I know what a fret is now.
Yeah.
There we go. Success. Absolute success. Dream car.
Ford Mustang, red one. EcoSport.
Ooh.
25 grand. I can get one in Hanley, bro. I just can't afford it. Next question.
Nice. Chris, have you got any? And then I'll do the final 5. Any things that you don't think we've covered?
You mentioned Ben Howard. What music you listen to?
Oh, wow. Well, I was brought up, I'll make this really quick. I was brought up in a house where music was constantly playing. I was brought up in quite a big, dusty old house in Audley. And my mum, she'll kill me for saying it was dusty. I didn't mean it. Mum.
Take it back.
Yeah, take it back. And whenever I woke up, I could hear BBC Radio Stoke playing downstairs. There was always music in the house. And because my parents were a lot older than me, they listened to like really 50s, 60s music. And that kind of gave me a vested interest in music. Probably what pushed me into theatre, if you know what I mean, and singing and acting and that kind of thing. So I'm quite eclectic. I love anything. I love the 50s music, the 60s music. My daughter's really into things like the Beatles and things like that. All the way through to bands like The Doors, Jefferson Aeroplane, that kind of stuff. My wife is a massive 80s fan, so electro 80s. So we're going to see New Order in September, fingers crossed, in Manchester, which will be really cool. So that I really like what influences what. So like the 80s stuff coming into kind of dance electronica. So I do a little bit of house DJing, just for me and my mates when we've had a beer, So I do a little bit of that. But I really love, and always have done, is kind of guitar rock. So Nirvana were probably, Kurt Cobain was a massive influence on me when I was younger, when I was a kid. But I love stuff like Biffy Clyro, The Foals. To be honest, anything, as long as it sounds good and it pings my ear, I'll listen to it.
You're quite passionate about music, aren't you?
Very, very passionate about music. Yeah. There's something about music that my wife says it resonates with my soul. It can take you through sad times, happy times. It remembers you things. You'll always remember where you first heard a record that you were really passionate about. It will. You might have a dance move to a certain song. You know what I mean? There's something about music that is so just appeals to the soul. And it definitely appeals to mine because I love sticking my headphones in and go and cut the grass and just seeing what comes up. Music like, I don't like that. I haven't heard that in ages. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Any more, Chris?
Do you listen to any podcasts?
Oh yeah, we haven't had the podcast question.
Yeah, I do actually. I won't name it, but I listen to the Married Annoyed one. I won't say it all, which is the comedian and his wife who talk about their relationship quite a lot. Is it Rosie and I can't think he's a TV presenter, a comedian. I won't go any more with that because it's a swear word.
I've seen it pop up on me recommendation feeds before. Yeah,
they're quite good because they are like 2.4 children family, and they talk about what it's like. They've got a section is what annoyed me about you this week. When they talk about these really interesting stuff. And obviously I listen to be honest, anything to do with, my counselling practice. I love stuff like that and reflective stuff. And golf podcasts, obviously, with Tiger Woods driving in ditches over the last few days. That's been kind of a high topic of what's going to go on for him. Now he's 44 and shattered his leg and, all those kind of things. How to improve my golf game, and because I've got mates to beat for a pint over the weekend, that kind of stuff.
Amazing.
Okay.
Any more, Chris?
No, thank you.
I think we've covered most of them, haven't we? I think so. Right, so we're going to do our newly famous. We're going to do our newly famous final five. Okay.
Sounds like it needs to be a thingy on that, Chris.
I'm going to see if I can add one. So, number one piece of life advice that you wish you knew sooner.
Live for today and don't try and strive for too much of what's in the future. Enjoy the journey, not the result. Enjoy the journey.
Yes, absolutely. Number two, one thing you couldn't live without.
My golf clubs.
Yep.
I'm going to rephrase that. Edit that bit out.
Okay.
Bacon.
Let me go again. Right. Number two, one thing you couldn't live without.
Bacon.
Okay. Good. Nice. Number three, your best coping skill.
I don't know. That's maybe something I need.
Bacon.
Yeah, bacon, cheese, and mushroom oatcakes. Do you know what? I think it's giving myself that time now. I think I know when I need to walk away and go and do something else, or just go and get some fresh air. Knowing where my button is, where my limit is.
Yeah, love it. Okay, number 4, something that you want to improve on.
Something I want to improve on. I'm not saying I'm the perfect thing. It's just I'm not saying that at all. That's not what I'm saying. Meg, edit that bit out. No, not at all. What do I want to improve on? I think it's about listening, and it's about listening to people. And I'm thinking about my wife when I say this, and listening, trying to be more in tune with people, and not putting my own stuff onto them, and just listening what their needs are, rather than me trying to interpret it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That makes sense, or is that a really bad answer?
No, it makes sense. Absolute perfect sense, yeah. And then the final question, if somebody who is struggling with their mental health is watching this now, what would you like to say to them? What advice would you give them?
Get in touch. Get in touch. I can't tell you how an impressive service Changes offer. And I'm not saying that as a marketing point of view, just for the sake of, get in touch and speak to someone. It's so important that people do that. And I tell you what, you'll never meet a more nicer group of people. The support that Changes give, from the moment of referral right the way through to support you to give back, to give it back to other people and use your experience, is just such a fantastic thing to do. So just get in touch, pick up the phone, speak to a member of the team. I think we're all lovely. I really do. I think we're all lovely, and we will help you where we can.
Yeah, lovely. Over to you, Chris.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Jay. It's been nice to get to know you a little bit better, and we definitely learned some things about you that we didn't know. I think the bacon one was probably obvious.
What are you trying to say? Well, is that Friday mornings in the office?
Friday morning orders, yes. So, and thank you as ever, Meg.
You're welcome.
And we'll see you again soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.